Hi, welcome to Science with Mrs. Stone from Advancing Science at Gettysburg College. Today we're going to think about wind. Wind is air that's moving. Air moves from areas of higher pressure to areas of lower pressure, and we'll talk more about air pressure in a later video. Now there are two ways that we can describe wind. We can describe the direction that it's blowing from, and we can also describe how fast or the speed at which it's blowing. Now, whenever you're making wind measurements, you want to make sure that you're not standing right next to any buildings or other large structures that may block the wind. Our first tool that we'll look at is called a wind vane. Wind vanes are used to measure the direction that the wind is blowing from. Now, this may look familiar to you. Lots of people have wind vanes on top of their houses so that they can measure the wind direction in their own yard. If you look at the top of this, you'll see that there are letters that match up with the compass directions. So we have north, east, south, and west. I'm going to take the side that has the N for north, and I'm going to point that towards the north, which for me is over here behind me. I'll hold this tool up in the air and let the wind go ahead and blow this yellow arrow that you see up at the top. And that arrow will point to the direction that the wind is blowing from. So I can see right now it's in between the S and the E, so I can say the wind is blowing from the southeast. I can confirm that by facing in that same direction that the arrow is pointing and checking to see, do I feel the wind blowing on my face? So this is a wind vane, and it measures wind, the direction that the wind is blowing from. Now, we can also measure wind speed using a tool called an anemometer. Now I have two different kinds of anemometers. I'm going to start with this type right here. You can see it has 4 cups on the top. Those cups will spin as the wind catches them. When you use this tool, you want to make sure that you have it about 4 feet above the ground and also away from any large buildings. You'll notice that one of the cups on this tool is different colored, so I will start with that cup facing my body. This is my counting cup. I will start a timer for 1 minute, and I will count each time that red cup passes in front of my body during a 1-minute time period. The wind is kind of still right now, so it is not spinning very fast, and so I'm going to get a low number. Obviously, the faster the wind's blowing, the faster this will spin. So there was 1, 2, 3, and I'll keep counting for 1 minute to see how many rotations I get per minute. It's a way to measure my wind speed. Now I can also use this electronic anemometer. It works in a similar way. It has these little fan blades inside, and you can see as the wind catches it, it spins those fan blades. Then there's an electronic display right here that will tell me what the wind speed is. So I just need to turn this on. And then I can also adjust the units or the way that I'm measuring wind speed. I can measure wind speed in meters per second, kilometers per hour, feet per minute, knots, which is what people who are on boats use to measure wind speed, or miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and leave it set to miles per hour because I want to compare my wind speed with what my local weather station is measuring. So right now I'm getting up to about 5 miles per hour, which matches up with what my weather forecast told me would be expected for today. Now, if you don't have tools like this at home to be able to measure wind speed, you can still make some estimates about how fast you think the wind is blowing. This chart right here is called the Beaufort scale. And the Beaufort scale is a way that you can use things in your yard, maybe trees or flags, to help you estimate the wind speed. And so you can look to see how much the branches on the trees are moving or how much the flag on the front of your house is outstretched. And you can use that as a way to estimate wind speed. So now it's your turn to go ahead outside, take your Beaufort scale with you, and see if you can estimate the wind speed based upon the observations of the trees and other objects in your neighborhood. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.